Hey, it's Soul back with Dragonflight Alpha coverage. Do hit that like button and subscribe to support the channel. We're back on professions today, and I have count 'em one, to present to you, and that's mining. Technically fishing made it, but, well, there's nothing to fishing, just fish, and that's about it. Folks have been waiting for mining, the bread and butter of blacksmithing and jewel crafting and engineering and, well, just about all the professions to some extent. We're going to dive right into what happens when you train up mining in Dragonflight. Over on the skill page, there are numerous extra perks and buffs that have to do with how efficiently you mine the two ores in Dragonflight, Tyrivite and Draconium. They even come with descriptions as if this was a role-playing game. Ain't that great? Anyway, Tyrivite is described as the common ore, pretty much found all over the place. Draconium is the less common ore, but is found in specific locations. There are a lot less pretty places on the Dragon Isles, and you'll usually find Draconium there. Now notice that there are like 8 versions of ore deposits, including rich deposits and seams, typically found in caves. And then there are those overload effects towards the bottom, which I'll get into more when I talk about specializations. Going through the motions of mining are virtually the same it's been for a few years now. Find the node, mine it once to get the full yield of materials, and then move on. Each node you mine will score you a skill point, and it's in your interest to max out your mining as soon as possible. This will be pretty easy thanks to being able to fly shortly into the expansion. Mechanically, that's all there is to mining. To help you out just a little bit, dragon riding talents will let you specialize for your gathering adventure by restoring your vigor as you mine or gather stuff. When I set about mining myself, my dragon riding happened to be progressed pretty far, with having additional vigor, recharge speed, and just my personal experience getting around. I felt like I was mining as fast as I ever have, being in the air for only a few seconds before finding a spot. As sort of expected, this is where dragon riding shows its weaknesses in not having a way to easily slow down before landing. Now, most often I was able to see where I needed to go and just, crash into a mining node, but sometimes I would miss, I'd overshoot a ledge, or I'd descend too far. So it'd be nice to have some sort of air brake or an afterburner of sorts to help me control my landing just a little bit. Ultimately though, you get used to it. Even during moments when I'm too low on vigor to really get anywhere, I still know that if I had 310 regular flying, I'd still be farming way slower. Just like crafting, gathering has stats, but these are separate from crafting. They have finesse, deftness, and perception to make your skills more efficient. Finesse gives a chance to obtain extra materials, but also slightly increases the speed at which you mine stuff. It's not really noticeable, so you don't really need to worry about it. Deftness just increases your gathering speed, which more than cancels out the penalty from finesse. Like I said, don't worry about it. And perception gives a higher chance of discovering rare reagents, like rare elements and gems. These stats are manipulated by profession equipment, which gives you some stat flexibility, and more from specializations, which I'm going to get into now. At skill level 25, you unlock specializations, and this is where things get interesting, but also make me a little bit nervous. There are 3 specs: mining process, metallurgy, and mastering the elements. Mining process is all about the basics, and apply to both Tyrivite and Draconium mining. This adds bonus points to your skill level so you can get extra materials. At this stage in the alpha, I wouldn't recommend putting points into anything but mining process, as the secondary stats I was just talking about offer what I think is very little impact. The stats that you see here actually reflects maxing out this spec, which by all estimations is going to take months to fill out. Metallurgy is where you can start specializing in either Tyrivite or Draconium, and refine ores to make them into higher quality ore. Investing into this spec will let you gather more Tyrivite and or Draconium than the average miner, and it'll also let you refine ore to a higher quality. Now, since I've only done limited testing, I haven't been able to mine up higher than rank 1 ore. If higher level ore can only be created through this process of refining, this means the cost of higher quality crafts is going to be pretty insane. Right now it takes 5 rank 1 ore to make 1 rank 2, and 5 rank 2 ore to make a rank 3. So basically you need 25 rank 1 ore to make 1 rank 3 ore. Over time, the crafting community will learn how to craft higher quality goods even with low quality materials. But for those who want to squeeze out that extra few item level, they might shell out a very pretty penny. To be fair, I speculate that having sufficient skill will give a higher chance of higher quality materials to appear. I mean, that's the whole point of having the skills and spec points, right? As a reminder, this is an early look at the profession while we're in an alpha stage, but I wanted to share this concern now for the sake of giving some feedback. The third spec is mastering the elements. Throughout the Dragon Isles are special elemental versions of Tyrivite and Draconium ore. They're pretty uncommon, but they're guaranteed to yield some elemental materials used in most crafting recipes. This spec gives bonus additional skill when mining these elemental nodes and causes what they call an overload, which has different effects depending on the type of node that you mined. Hardened nodes, which produce earth materials, give a damage reduction buff. Molten nodes, which produce fire materials, give a fire shield sort of buff. Primal Draconium nodes produce other elements that's not normally found from mining, and you get a DPS buff. Finally, Titan Touch nodes will open a portal to another nearby mining node. Your choices between the three specs, which you'll access very quickly because you're just going to be doing a lot of mining, will determine which ore that you're better at processing, Tyrivite or Draconium, and possibly which element you'll gather the most of. The question though is, which element will have the highest demand? Now that remains to be seen, of course, and you've also got to consider once the market does find out what that is there going to be a sudden oversupply? So there's going to be some interesting choices. Finally, I'll speak just a little bit on specialization points themselves. So far, the sources of spec points are few and far between, with skill books coming from daily quests, rares, treasures, and repping up with the Artisans Consortium, which seems to provide a number of skill books. Specializing, whether it's mining or any other profession, feels like it's going to be an extremely long process, but I wouldn't fret so much over feeling left out or left behind if you jump into professions late. Material ranks matter, but they matter the most to the top end players, so there's definitely money to be made from that side of the market. However, the barrier of entry into professions is much lower than it first appears. As we get closer to launch, I'll paint a more or less complete picture of the profession experience and how it's going to affect players and of course the economy. For now though, we're still in the alpha, and these are my findings so far. So what'd you think? Leave a comment and share your thoughts. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content. I'll catch you later. Till next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.